Hello guys, Temporalcortex here with episode 2 of how to make a League of Legends stream overlay. The first episode I think went really well. I got some good feedback on it. Quite a lot of people seem to enjoy it. So we're just going to keep going with it. And I'm going to show you how to do certain elements now to add a bit more depth to your overlay. So if we're just looking at a basic UI recolor, and then we're going to look today at other parts that you can pull out of the overlay that you can use to tweak or adjust and things like that. So first of all, what we're going to do, obviously we've got our blue edge, or our sort of recolored versions. We're going to take out, we're going to delete this part because I like to keep that the original color. So again, just using our polygonal lasso tool, which is just the shortcut for that is the L key. So if you hit L, it'll automatically switch to that. And we're just going to go and cut out this quickly, and do that and get that done. So I just want to go again, this is sort of just going over sort of the basics of the tools I use and how I set up a sort of template that I then base, you know, most of my overlays on for sizing and stuff like that, and the areas that they covered. I am thinking that I will do a sort of series showing you how I make, say, like a custom champ one where I take sections from splash art and things like that. So that might be another part that we go into. So we've got all that done. Happy enough with that. Now we're going to start pulling out little elements that we may want to adjust the color on, that'll just add a wee bit extra to it. So we're going to select our background there, hit the polygonal lasso tool. We've got these 3 fins that run down the center of, or the side of the center section. So we're just going to pull those and cut those out, because you can do, you know, you can adjust those and it certainly adds a bit more to it. So let's do that. Don't worry if it's not exact, because nobody's really gonna see it in a stream. You know, just with the quality and stuff, you won't be able to pick out if there's a little tiny pixel that isn't right. So again, we're just going to go to select, modify, smooth, 2 pixels just to round off the edges. We're going to hit Control C, Control V. You now have a duplicated copy of it down here, as you can see. One little handy tool over here whenever you've got your layers tab open, if you go up here and you go to panel options, you've got the, you know, it'll help you see things on each layer easier if you change it to thumbnail size up to the biggest size, and then by default I think it's on entire document. So as you can see, that just shows you everything, even though you might just be working on a very small section. So if you go to panel options and change that to layer bounds and then hit OK, it will then crop in on the preview. The little layer thumbnail will crop in on just the area that actually contains information, so it makes it a lot easier for you to pick out the sections that you're working on, rather than trying to guess, is that part, and all those sort of things. So let's we can just copy our layer style again across, you know, if you wanted to make that blue or whatever. And because obviously there's 2 of these, what you can do, if you hit Control, if you select that layer that has what we've just cut out, and you hit Control J, it will then duplicate that layer. So if I do that again to let you see, so Control J, duplicate the layer, and then what you can hit is Control T, which gives you the transform tool. Right click, flip horizontally, and if you hold shift while dragging in the transform tool, it's locked to so it'll be perfectly in line, because it won't move up and down unless you pull it to the extreme. So you can literally just drag that across, and hey presto, you've saved yourself, you know, instead of having to cut out both of them twice, or, you know, cut out both of them so you're doing the same thing twice, you only have to do it once, and then you can just flip it and duplicate it, which is a lot handier. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to go in, obviously you have these little buttons here for your ability buttons. So those, basically what you can do is you can cut out all the stuff and alter all the things that do not change while in game. So if they remain static, like your keys or your item numbers, you can change those. The surround for the portrait, you can change that. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at this, and what we're going to do is we're going to cut out, see the way this has for the abilities and your skills and everything, it's got this background. So we're basically going to cut that out, which we don't have to do super, because we've already cut out the part above it. We can do it sort of roughly around the outside, and so we'll just go zip around this quickly so we can do that, and then we've got that cut out. So again, we're just going to go select, modify, smooth, 2 pixels, Control C, Control V, so we've got a cutout of it here. Again, we can adjust things, but obviously at the minute that is that is just, it has everything, so it hasn't got these cut out. And the parts that we're going to need to cut out are basically the abilities, because those will change, and the passives and everything, and your summoner spells. So the easiest way to do that, hit M for your marquee tool, rectangular marquee, and what we're going to do, we're going to hold shift while dragging it out here, to give us our square. Going to move that down just a wee bit. I'm going to go select, modify, smooth, and I'm going to do these by 3 to give the corners a more rounded edge, and then basically we're just going to hit the delete key to remove that. Again, we're going to do it over here. You don't have to hold shift. Some of these it's easier if you don't. And see, obviously we don't want to remove the Q top part of that, so what we're going to do is we're going to hold the Alt button, which will give us the marquee symbol with a little minus symbol beside it, and if we drag that over, we can remove that section and go select, modify, smooth. We're going to do that by 2, and then we're just going to hit delete. And then what we can do, select your marquee tool, hit an M, hold shift, click it across, delete, delete, delete. Now obviously these ones here are slightly smaller, so we're going to have to just tweak things a wee bit here. So I'm going to move that over there, hold the Alt key again. Sometimes if you don't get it right, you can remove it bit by bit. You don't have to do it all in one go. So select, modify, smooth, 2, delete that, move that across with holding your shift key and hitting your arrow keys, delete, and then this last one is just a wee bit smaller again, so we'll drag that out and we'll just remove that. Oh, and I did it the wrong way around. Shift adds to the selection, Alt takes away from the selection. So again, select, modify, smooth, true, delete. So we've got that so far, looking pretty good. Obviously the other thing that is not static is the whenever you put points in abilities. So what you can do here, if you hold the shift key, you can keep adding to the selection, and you can go along here. These won't always be uniform, but it's such a small portion that it won't overly matter. So you can just, so we've made those 5 little boxes, we can hit delete for that, shift key again, move it across, so you can see that that end one doesn't line up properly, but we'll just hit delete. And if you need to go back, you can go back 1 step by hitting Control Z, or you can go back 2 steps by hitting Control Alt and Z. Or you can go back as many steps as you want, depending on how many times you hit it. So with this, it's a wee bit trickier because they're not all uniform. So we'll try and do them as accurate as we can here, quickly. And again, this is good practice for learning how to use the marquee tools and stuff properly. You know, for getting that done. And if you can do it nice and quick, then you're laughing. So we'll do that. And very soon you're able to judge, you know, where parts line up and things like that. So it does come in very handy. And take that out. And then obviously for your R, which will be your ultimate abilities, you only have 3 boxes, so it's a wee bit different again. But if we take that out, so as you can see there, I've screwed up that last one. I can just hold the Alt button, select over it all and remove it completely, and then just redo it all again. So there we go, we've cut out the spell parts. And sometimes you would want to, some people would like to replace the letters, maybe with a different font or things like that, which is again very easy to do. That you can just, if you wanted to, you could just take that, hit B for your brush, fill it in black, which is probably one of the easiest things to do, or else you can just make them, you know, see through. So we can do that nice and quickly, and then you could put in your own font or things like that, or text, just to make that out a wee bit more unique and a wee bit different. It's entirely personal preference. Not everybody wants to do it. Some people do, some people don't. And then if you've got wee bits, as you can see up there, that where the letters run over the border of that box, you can just what you can use is the clone tool, which is the shortcut for that is S. Make it super small. You hold the Alt button to select where you're copying from and copying to, and then you can just click across to clean that up. Again, don't worry if you're not like super exact, because it'll, you know, it would be very, very hard for somebody to pick it out if there was a little issue with it. So we're just going to do this last wee bit here. So there we go, we've got that, basically that part, you know, sort of taken out. Now as you can see, the background of this has a sort of greeny blue tint to it. So what we're going to do is we can neutralize that by changing it to black and white, so you still retain the tone of it, but you're going to remove any color. So it means if you're putting a color over the top of it, it won't interfere with that. So basically how we're going to do that is we're going to hit Ctrl-J to duplicate the layer. We're going to go into this, double click beside it, go to color overlay. We're going to change the color overlay to black and the blending mode to color, and that will then change it to black and white. And then we can, what we can do is we can hold shift, choose that layer there, and hit Control-E to flatten the 2 layers together. Therefore we have a black and white cutout part of that. The other thing you can do, which is quite cool, is if you duplicate the layer and go to your blending modes here, you can use screen to make it a bit lighter. If you wanted to, you know, to bring it out a bit more and let people see it a bit more, and then you could flatten that down also. Excuse me. So that's sort of doing that, and then you can go in here. You can do your whole color overlay thing again if you wanted to. Choose your colors, you know, make that, if you really wanted to make it all lovely blue. The other thing you can do is, as you can see, that looks, you know, nice and clean, and you're still getting the definition and the depth to the image, which is really handy as well. So that's basically that sort of part, guys, just to show you how to do that. And if you do have little bits on the corners and things like that that are there, I always zoom stuff up too much. Don't zoom it up so as you're looking at individual pixels, it's not worth it. But you can do that, and if there's wee bits like that, you could just add a layer mask, which is just this white rectangle with a blue circle, or with a black circle in the middle, or a grey circle in the middle. If you add that onto the image, it'll then apply a white mask. At the minute you're not hiding anything, but if you take your brush and change it to black, what you can then do is basically, if you paint black onto this layer mask, it will then hide. So if there's wee bits that you need to tidy up, it will then hide it. And don't worry if you accidentally go, oh flip, I've gone way over, because you just hit the X key to switch your foreground and background colors, change that to white, and then you can paint that back in. Basically it's very non-destructive doing it that way. It allows you to bring certain, you know, certain wee bits in or take them away if you need to tidy it up and stuff like that, which is really, really super. In the next part, I'm going to be covering a lot of layer masks, because layer masks are a really, really important thing. So I'm going to try and think of the best way to go over that and show you how to do it, and things like that. But that concludes this sort of episode, guys. Hope there's a few sort of hints and tips and tools that are useful, whether you're new to using Photoshop or have been using it for a while. Maybe there's certain wee things that you can pick up there that'll help you guys. Be sure to let me know what you think in the comments below. Subscribe for more tutorials and things like that, which I'm planning to do a lot more in the future, because they've obviously gone down really, really well. And feel free to follow me on Twitter at Temporalcortex and let me know what you think, guys, and I will see you later. Bye now.